Okay, let's jump into it. Now, for anyone that's just joined, I'm going to rattle through a PowerPoint for 5 minutes or so. Then we'll jump into a Unleashed integrated CRM system and walk you through kind of how it works and key features and such. What I'd encourage you all to do is use either the Q&A in the room or the live chat, one or the other. Both is totally fine. And feel free to fire any questions in there. This is a safe space. There's no such thing as a stupid question. I've heard it all. So please, don't hesitate to just chuck in anything that springs to mind, and I'll kind of circle back to those questions at the end. But let me jump into this PowerPoint and we'll get things kicked off. So discover the CRM that completes your Unleashed workflow. And I've been working with Unleashed customers myself now for 7 years. So hopefully I'm somewhat of the way qualified um, to talk you through today. There's an extremely old photo of me, probably about 6 years old. But there you go. Perhaps needs an update, perhaps not. The perfect match for Unleashed and how Prospect CRM, owned by the same company as Unleashed, is the perfect add-on to your current Unleashed system. Real businesses, real B2B sales growth. And here's an example of a customer I worked with a little while ago, and a quote from their CEO, Dennis Kelleher, which is at Good Culture Kombucha, a UK-based kombucha drinks business. Since we started using this CRM in the last 12 months, our sales have doubled. Sounds like a pretty extreme use case, doesn't it? But go ahead, check out our website, which I'll kind of link you to a little bit later on. And there is tons of reviews just like this from Unleashed customers who do literally double their growth in the first 12 months of using the system. And as we touch on a couple of features today in the early stages of the software presentation, you'll begin to understand pretty immediately how possible and feasible that is for yourselves too. Beyond the basic and how our CRM stacks up against some other CRMs within the market. So again, a little bit of context around Prospect as a CRM product. All of our customers sell physical products to businesses. A lot of our customers will do some servicing. They might sell some subscription elements, and they'll probably do direct to consumer sales as well most of the time. However, in some way, shape, or form, they sell physical products to businesses. Whereas we look at three other CRM products here: Salesforce, Pipedrive, HubSpot, and we've got a breakdown of their customer bases, who they're selling to. And all of their industries are pretty similar, um, almost identical. They all have the same top three markets. They're all primarily selling to software companies, information and tech services, marketing and advertisement agencies, which is no major coincidence or fluke. It's simply because those are the markets which are the most proactive in buying CRM. So if you're a CRM company, you hone in there, right? Our, we're a little bit different. We're breaking the mold. Like I said, all of our customers sell physical products to businesses. And we do exceptionally well in that market in terms of close rates and customer success. And that's, of course, just because our customers require very different functionality to what these businesses would need in a CRM tool. And there's kind of three key points to that statement. The first point, and arguably the most important point, is having the strongest integration to Unleashed and the Unleasheds of this world. We actually integrate to a few of them. But today is Unleashed focus. And Prospect, by far and away, has the strongest integration to Unleashed. And we'll explore exactly what that looks like in a moment. And then the two other points where our customers would typically require different functionality than what all of these businesses would need in a CRM platform kind of falls under the umbrella of sales, and how our customers would sell extremely differently to all of these types of businesses. But what does that mean exactly? So the first point to that sales equation would be none of these industries, if we just use our kind of common sense, are doing any repeat business. They're project-based work or they're selling a subscription. So repeat business and repeat sales and account management isn't touched on by any of these industries. So none of these CRMs help with it at all. But repeat business, account management, making sure our customers keep buying from us is crucial to all of our customers. So that's an area that we really hone in on and assist with. The second department in sales, where we're really helping out and our customers are a bit different, all of these industries will pretty much sell one product or service, maybe two sometimes. Our customers sell tens, hundreds, sometimes thousands of SKUs. So we'll also really look to identify cross-sell opportunity and assess what our customers are not buying, which potentially they could be. And of course, I will elaborate on how the system looks after all of that today. There's some of our reviews in various app marketplaces. We do okay, to say the least. Our Trustpilot score is 4.8 at the moment, which is as good as you get really in software. So something we're pushing for 4.9 currently, but yes, overall, we do exceptionally well. The growth formula and the growth model. So again, kind of honing in on what I was mentioning before, but every CRM will promise you more customers, and so do we. But what we're doing differently to the rest is we're really looking to maximize your customer lifetime value. Once you bring on a new customer, we're looking to ensure that you get the most out of that account for as long as you possibly can. And of course, if you piece both of those together, you achieve a decent level of sales growth and business growth, which is always the aim to a degree, right? Again, most CRMs will kind of take you through this funnel side of selling, and after that, don't do a huge amount. So they'll look to attract, sell, and close. But once you've closed that first order, most other CRMs kind of become a glorified Excel spreadsheet where everything is housed. But from a sales perspective, we're really looking to ensure that after that, you're onboarding your customers and becoming an integral part of their processes, and then maximizing their lifetime value, which is logically just about maximizing order value, increasing order frequency to as high as we can, and of course, making sure we retain all of our customers too. And we actually break the system down into those different departments and functionality that the system offers. So this is our growth playbook, a plan of action of how prospects can grow your business, like we saw with Good Culture Kombucha earlier today. So if you're looking to improve customer retention performance, all of these features will help you do that. If you're looking to increase how often your customers are buying, then these tools will be a big win, and so on and so forth. Hopefully we can piece all of this together and really drive growth. But this very much operates as a plan of action of how we can attain that growth in accordance to where our business focus is. And actually, our system comes with an entire onboarding process, inclusive at no extra cost, which is there to help you migrate from another system, help you configure the system and set up and train the team. And our onboarding team will go through this with you to identify where you're looking to improve your business, and we can help focus in on those areas and actually provide some real workflows and successes that our customers have had that we can pass on to you. And in terms of the whole kind of repeat business and account management side of things, one of the tools which really helps our customers out in that regard is the RFM model. But to give you a little bit of explanation of what RFM is, before we look at an RFM model in a fake system in a moment, RFM is an analytical tool that came from Harvard Business School. We didn't just imagine it up ourselves, sadly. We've just brought it to the modern world and the software world because, all our customers do repeat business, repeat selling. So this is pretty valuable to them. But what RFM stands for is recency, frequency, monetary value. So look at how recently your customers have bought, how frequently they buy from you, and the money they spend per order. Your customers are placed into these different segments: champions, loyals, all the way down to customers who are at risk, you can't lose, or are hibernating. And inevitably, your interest kind of peaks in these lower segments. Your at-risk customers, for example, spent big money, purchase often from you, but they haven't purchased in a long time. So that's naturally a segment or a cohort of customers you'd like to reignite or revive. But what the system is doing is flagging up those scenarios to you, so you can then be proactive from a marketing approach or a sales approach. And I think, speaking from experience, again, having worked with Unleashed customers and in CRM for 7 years now, what a lot of businesses are doing prior to Prospect CRM is they're kind of relying on that light bulb moment of, I haven't spoke to Joe Blogs in a couple of weeks, I should probably reach out. But as you grow and as your customer base grows, that becomes an increasingly more impossible task, and customers inevitably slip through the net. So this model really helps our customers out in ensuring that does not happen within their business. And just finally, before we jump into a system here, I'll just kind of give you a high level overview of how the integration works. And a long story short, really, is everything that happens in Unleashed comes through from to Prospect immediately. The data is always live. But to get into a little bit more detail, all currencies, tax and warehouses against every single customer are respected. Of course, your customers and suppliers come through alongside orders, invoices, credits, and your inventory. Your particular products, their categories, their SKUs, their stock levels, all of the above, like I say. In terms of what Prospect provides you, it gives you far more detailed sales analysis than what Unleashed does. Unleashed is an amazing system, of course, but sometimes we need to remind ourselves it's an inventory management system. It's not built to help you sell and grow your business. You can create orders and actually new customers in Prospect and push them into Unleashed at the point of sale. And you can even create new products directly into Unleashed from Prospect. Not that every single customer needs that or wants that, but it is feasible. But let's take a look at the system in action now. So out of the PowerPoint, we'll be pleased to know. And here is a fake Prospect system here. Real in the sense of it's working, it's operating, but this is obviously a illegitimate business. This business does not exist. And the name of this business, which some of you Unleashed customers might be aware of, is That's My Jam. A hypothetical jam company that sell jam to bakeries, stores, hotels, restaurants, you name it. But of course, a fictitious company entirely. And this is what our dashboard looks like to begin with. Quite a lot of information, and all of this information is instantly live. As soon as you connect your Unleashed system to a Prospect trial system, you'll see all of this data immediately. So to give you kind of a whistle-stop tour of the dashboard, we can see how much we've brought in this month versus last month as a business. We can see all of our customers within a RFM model and how many customers we have in each segment of that. All our customers who should have ordered by now, which we'll touch on in a second, and all of our customers who are growing in spend and declining in spend, and even our customers that we haven't communicated with in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever that looks like for your business ultimately. So straight away, this dashboard's kind of pushing and pulling me in the right direction. And this is looking at our entire group of customers. However, we also bring through who the account managers are from Unleashed. So these are all of the account managers who look after certain groups of customers themselves in our system. And if I wanted to, I could select Amber's dashboard, and the entire dashboard compromises to only show Amber her own customers. So Amber gets a slightly more tunnel visioned approach of where Amber might need to focus. We'll jump back into the Everyone dashboard, and we can see, again, all our customers are back. Now, let's kind of touch on the RFM model because I've contextualized it recently for you all. So we've got 2 customers who are at risk, which we'll jump into here. And as soon as you come into here, you get some pretty powerful data points straight away. So you can see when a customer's first order was, when their most recent order was, the total number of orders they've placed, and their average order size. So straight away, I can kind of decipher that these customers are at risk because they haven't ordered in, well, at least 4 months. But just for everybody's knowledge and understanding, this is not to say at-risk customers don't buy in 4 months. That's not how the system works. The system will compare your customers to your customers to give itself its own algorithm. So, for some customers of ours, an at-risk customer hasn't bought in 6 months. In other cases, they haven't bought in 3. And in other cases, they haven't ordered in 1. It will compare your customers to your customers to work out its own kind of algorithm. And like we have at-risk customers, our champion customers are going to look very different. They've all ordered in the past week. They've placed many more orders, so they have better order frequency, and their average order size is probably larger too. So again, we're looking at recency of orders, frequency of orders, and value of orders to give you your own RFM model. And the beauty around kind of all of this and the RFM model working itself out is very often we'll see the RFM model move with our customers, right? So as they start using Prospect on day 1, their at-risk customers may not have bought in 6 months, but 3 months down the line, their at-risk customers haven't ordered in 3 months or 4 months because they've now got all of this information that they can begin to be proactive with. We could do an email marketing campaign to our at-risk customers or people that haven't bought in 2 months. Now that we have all of this data at our disposal, which is very actionable from here. So that kind of explains the RFM model. But another report which, candidly our customers really love and enjoy is the missing orders report. Doing a similar job to the RFM model, but kind of complementing it nicely. So these are all our customers who should have ordered by now. Why should they have ordered by now? Now, I'm just going to get rid of a field on this report at the moment, which is the account manager field, because we haven't got it assigned in this system. And now I can see all of the data really clearly. Why should these customers have ordered by now? Because Prospect will calculate your customers' average days between orders and flag up everyone that's broken that rule with you. So if we take the example of Joe Public here, they were buying from us every 29 days on average. Very strange for them not to buy in 47 days. And now they've not bought in 84. The system also calculates their average order size, which is what we're looking at on the far right-hand side here. It gives you a bit of an expectancy. When we go to speak to Joe Public and hopefully get another order from them, we should be looking for an order size around the 250 mark, for sure. And what this says at the moment is we've got 8 customers who should have bought by now. And if we were to get one order from each of them at the average size, we'd generate just over 52K in revenue. And I was on 2 or 3 demonstrations today already. Pretty regular process for me, actually. And these sort of numbers that we're looking at now are so regular for me to see. Businesses are never to know which customers have broken a regular buying pattern. And businesses try to do stuff like this on Excel, but they never really come close. Hence why our system is so valuable to unleash customers, of course. And for what it's worth, if you jump into Joe's Public or you stumble across this customer in the system, you'll always be given the message that they should have ordered by now. So you're always flagged that up straight away. But what I'll do now, instead of looking at Joe Public, is I'm quickly just going to jump into a champion customer who's going to have a lot more order history against them. And we're going to go into Bill's Kitchen here. And I'm just going to kind of show you some of the analysis and some of the data that you can see in the system very, very easily. But before I go on and elaborate to that point, I'm sure you've all picked up exactly what I've been putting down so far. But please use the Q&A, use the chat in this Zoom meeting room, and feel free to fire me any questions you like whenever you like. And I'll circle back to those questions towards the end and look to help you out. But coming back to Bill's Kitchen here, we can see how much money they've spent with us in the last 365 days versus the previous. And our account manager, Josie, is doing a very good job because they're up 300%. We can see how much they've spent in the most recent financial year as well compared to the previous, and there's a bit of an astronomical increase there. This is, of course, a fake system, but these sort of results obviously would be welcome news to anyone. All of the addresses come through from Unleashed, which is really crucial because we can create orders in here and push them into Unleashed. Of course, you need the addresses, right? And then you've got all of the contacts that work here at Bill's Kitchen, and we currently have 6 of those. You could have 600, really, not that you would, but all the contacts that work at this business, you can see them there quite easily. You've also got all of the orders here, the different order numbers, and you could dive into an order should you wish to. We can see this order, for example, is actually still parked. You can actually see this particular line hasn't been shipped or delivered yet. But the line above it has been, hence why we have the invoice number and the invoice date. So you can also see which stage an order is at within its kind of life cycle. And then the Unleashed page holds you some pretty basic Unleashed account data, like the Unleashed price list that they're on, their tax code, their payment terms. Prospect respects all of that information. Their customer type comes through from Unleashed as well. And of course, there's an open Unleashed link in case you need to dive into their account in Unleashed. And then we'll kind of conclude this kind of customer record scan by going to the sales analysis screen. So these bars here are all different orders and dates and values attached. Now, again, this system's not looked after, really, but you probably wouldn't have an order worth 100 grand and loads of sub 10 grand orders, but this will probably be a little bit more what your sales analysis page might look like. And likewise, there's a massive spike there, so we'll zoom in instead, and you can kind of see the fluctuations in their spend each month too. But where does their money go? We'll also kind of break that down by the SKU. So you can see a breakdown of what Bill's Kitchen is spending with us and where most of their money goes. But I can also expand this out to get a complete breakdown of where their money goes by the product SKU. I could also dive into a product and assess how the product performs on a revenue basis or a margin basis, seasonality. But we'll kind of save that for another day. Just beneath that, unless anyone wants to say in the chat that you'd love to see it, in which case I can show you. But just beneath that, kind of going back to the point around, all of our customers sell tons of products. Like I say, sometimes north of 1,000 SKUs. But even if you sell tens or hundreds of SKUs, this magic matrix breakdown will show you all the different types of products you sell and whether customers are buying them or not. So in the case of Bill's Kitchen, they're buying all of these product types from us, but they're not buying either of these, and they're currently aware of jam accessories, but they're not buying them. So straight away, I get kind of a good insight into what customers are not buying and, potentially what they could be. But we're looking at this in relation to Bill's Kitchen at the moment, but what I could also do is I could look at this across the board. And here I've got all of my product categories along the top. You can use your Unleashed product categories for this. We pulled them through by default. Or you could use your own categories that you could make up, to make a report like this slightly more effective. So product categories along the top and customers down the left-hand side. And you've got these different colored dots to address where they're at with these trends and, whether they're buying products or not. Now, of course, this report is automated. Prospect has all of your customers, it has all of your products, and it has all of the sales. So the system straight away knows if someone's bought something or not. And if we take the example of Bill's Kitchen again, we click on the green dot here in relation to equipment, you can see all of the jam equipment they've bought. Then if you click on finished jam products, you see all the finished jam products they have bought. And if they haven't bought a product, they could be unaware, which is what these red dots signal. But there are a couple other in-between dots to address. So if they've not bought a product, they could be aware of a product, which means one of two things. They've manually been marked as aware of a product because we spoke to them about it and someone afterwards has manually marked them to be aware. That's one feasible option. Or alternatively, like in this example, we've actually sent them some email campaigns on our equipment products. And I could jump into these campaigns and see if they opened the campaigns and clicked on links in the campaigns and interacted with it. But ultimately, like I say, it could be a manual marking that they're aware based on a conversation, or, alternatively, you can do an email campaign from the system to say, let's market equipment to all the customers that haven't bought it. And these, in theory, would all go yellow. And then finally, you could be working on a sale. So if I kind of scroll down and find a blue dot here, we're currently trying to sell equipment to Flora's Farm Shop. So if I click on this blue dot here, you can see we're actually working on an opportunity record here. Maybe we're working on a quote. Both of those would operate in the same way. So that's kind of a real cross-sell opportunity and identifies where customers are not buying from you. And what's always interesting doing live demonstrations on a report like this is if you go to your champion customers, you get way more green. It's no coincidence that the customers that are buying more often, spending more money with you, buy more products from you. It's often the way it flies. Overall, we are trying to sell as many products that we can as possible. But actually, what this is doing alongside the RFM model and alongside the missing orders report is increasing customer stickiness, increasing their dependency on us as a supplier, which is very much what all of the data is going to enable us to do. I did notice a question flag up. I've only probably got about 8 more minutes of presentation. And then I'll come back and I'll answer all of the questions. So thank you for that, and just bear with me for a couple of moments. What I'm going to do now is jump into some slightly more standard CRM practice, I would describe it. We'll do a little bit of task management, a little bit of communication, and then we'll create an order and push it into Unleashed so you can understand how that works. And candidly, for all of you in the room, I could probably present until midnight tonight. Um, I would die of starvation. You'd all die of boredom. So we're not going to be doing that. But rest assured, all of the more standard CRM stuff that you can envisage, like managing a pipeline, creating customer tickets, you can do all of that in the system for sure. And what we'll do is we'll discuss how we can dig into some of your requirements in a little bit more depth in a few moments' time. But just for now, what we're going to do is we're going to find myself. There I am, Tony Egan, who works at the Access Group. I often go by Tone, so Tone Egan for now. And we'll jump into Tony's record, and I work at the Access Group. So we can come down here and we can kind of see what's going on. So there's actually loads of tasks against this system. There's a ticket, there's an open opportunity, there's another open opportunity, there's a task directly against this record, and all of the tasks will sit at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just mark some of these as complete to kind of get rid of them, and you can see all of the tasks are being completed. And of course, you've got visibility of that as well. Tony's completed all of these tasks, and everyone can see when I did that. So now that we've got all of the tasks out of the way, you can kind of see the most recent communication. So there was an email sent by myself. There was an email I sent 12 days ago, and there was a task I set for myself to send an email 12 days ago. So you get a kind of full history of what both yourselves and your colleagues have been getting up to. There was a document sent, and you get the full history for sure. So once you've done, kind of assessed the picture, and let's imagine that I've just given Tony a phone call, and now what I want to do is set myself a task. My task is going to be send email. And what I'm going to say is spoke to Tone on the phone, rhyming unintended. He would like an email to return to with some more information. That's my little narrative of what's gone on. I can type the word information out. Who's the task for? Is it for me? Is it for a colleague? So I can select who it's for, but I'll leave it on for me. And when is the task for? I'll leave it on for today. And then I'll click create, and a few things are going to happen. So now everyone can see Tony set himself a task for today. They can see what I'm getting up to. That then appears in my task list over here. And I've got one task on today and 199 overdue. This is a fake system. That's not really what's happening in my life. I've got my life slightly more together than that at the moment. And if you assign a colleague a task, I should also mention they'll be notified via email straight away. Then, of course, we can log into the system on any given day, and I can go into my task here. And I can see, I need to send Tony an email. So to do that, I'll select his email on the right-hand side. I will select my email template, and I'll press send. Job done, because I'm using a template. Now, this template is configured to have an attachment already attached. That is, of course, something that you can do. You could also delete it. And what you'll notice here is that the template, unsurprisingly, is using merge field. So it's taken Tony's name, it's taken his business's name, and your business name could be in here too. And as part of the onboarding process, we'll help you create as many templates as you like. There is also AI in the system. So if you wanted to, you can make the email more friendly, more professional. You could ask the system to proofread it. Or you could give the system a message to say, write me an email covering this topic, and it will give you an email and you can change it should you need to. New and pretty cool functionality. But let's go ahead and press send. That email's been sent. The email lands in here so everyone can see the email's been sent. Again, if I come back to this record in a week's time, I know where I was at. That email will also go to the sent items of my Outlook, my Gmail, whatever I'm using. Likewise, emails that come into those email clients will come back into here. The final point around the email sent from the system is we also track them. So if a customer opens the email, clicks on links in the email, I'll see all of that here for myself too. What I'll do now is we'll jump into a sale. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a quote or an order for Tony. Now, excuse me for explaining the obvious, but if you've agreed an order with somebody and you're just looking to push it into Unleashed as soon as you can, because it's all been agreed, just create an order and push it into Unleashed. If you need to send a quote, which is ultimately going to be accepted or rejected, then go for a quote. Simple as that. Now, I'm going to use a quote, but truth be told, I could still process an order from the quote screen. So we'll kind of kill two birds with one stone here. Now, let's go ahead and just call this quote a July stock order. I'll select a salesperson for this. We'll leave it on as amber. And Prospect will know what price tier they're on in Unleashed. Likewise, it will know their default warehouse. So let's go ahead and build this order using all of that kind of Unleashed data, which is already preset. Now, one thing I should just flag to you all very briefly is this record is yellow because the access group are a potential customer. They're not a customer yet. And your customers would be green. But despite these guys being a potential customer and ultimately not existing in Unleashed, I can still create a quote or an order from them from our Prospect system. And what's quite nice is with your customers, what will come up first is that customer's top 5 favorite products. And of course, you can see the price as per the price list you're on and the amount you've got in stock. Let's go for one of these blueberry and strawberry jams. But then we've also got some other screens we could use. We'll start with the popular screen, which I think is a lot of customers' favorites. This is the customer you're quoting or selling to. This is their top products in terms of what they order most often, top to bottom. So theoretically, you could say, okay, you need 4 of those, 2 of these, 6 of those, 5 of these. And we could also set the price if we want to from here as well. And I could add all of that to the order. Now, there's a few upsell links that have been created there. That screen doesn't always pop up. That's another feature we have altogether, which we won't touch on today. We also have the recently purchased screen, which would literally show us that customer's recent orders, including the order date and the recent price that they paid. And finally, we've got the search for product screen too, where you can search for products. Of course, like the word brow, you find chocolate brownies and you could add those to the order. So lots of screens you could go to. They all kind of have their own use cases. And now we've built a bit of an order. If we were happy with this order and we wanted to push it into Unleashed, all we would do is press confirm and the order will shoot into Unleashed. So press confirm and the order will shoot into Unleashed. If they don't have an account in Unleashed, you can create their account in Unleashed and process their first order all in one go. That's what would be happening here. And that's a sales order, really. It's as simple as that. If you need to send a quote to the customer, you can go ahead and just select their email on the right-hand side. Select your quote template. You might send a PDF quote, and there's your quote attached as a PDF. Press send, and job's done. And we actually take care of your quote document for you as well. That's all included in the onboarding process again, which is inclusive with the system. But for the sake of today's webinar, I'm just going to download it and show you what we can do with it. And let me just find a previous quote document I utilized. I think this one should be absolutely fine. Yeah. So here's a quote document. Order data will come from the CRM, of course, including the order that you built, the details, today's date, the expiration date, job done. But what's pretty cool about our quotes is the customer can approve or decline it themselves. If the customer approves it, they come to your order portal. The company logo, your company logo appears here. This all becomes on brand, and the customer can input a PO and click approve. If that was to happen, the salesperson would be notified. Maybe your sales inbox would be notified too if you'd like it to work that way. To say, hi, Tony. Tony, the Access Group, has confirmed order 1020 and we've pushed it through to Unleashed for you. That would all be automated from there. But just to clarify, and for the avoidance of doubt, the approve and decline buttons are a pretty cool feature. Nice customer buying experience, takes a bit of work off the sales team's hands because they don't need to retrospectively go back and confirm quotes. That being said, it's optional. You don't have to use these buttons if you don't want to. And that's, quoting and ordering in Prospect and pushing it into Unleashed. And perhaps to elaborate on that point slightly further, as I just kind of reopened this PowerPoint to conclude. What's really common practice is having, again, worked with Unleashed customers myself for 7 years now. And what Access, the company who own Prospect CRM and Unleashed would like you to do is, as you adopt Prospect to your business, should you adopt Prospect to your business, you will probably remove a lot of users from Unleashed and place them on our system. As ours is a CRM system, you can set notes, tasks, see all the previous communication, and you've got complete visibility of what your customers are doing, what they're buying, what they're not buying. Are they slowing down their buying? Prospect gives you all of that insight. So chances are, if you're in a customer-facing role, you go off Unleashed and you move onto our system gradually. And that, of course, lowers your Unleashed costs if and when you adopt Prospect CRM. So just a couple more slides from me, and then I'll get to the question we've got. And feel free to add more questions in there. Next steps, how can you get this level of analysis and insight in 14 days? So you can actually take a CRM trial out from within Unleashed. There's a CRM button on the left-hand side, and you can take out a trial, and you'll immediately get a Prospect trial system for 14 days, which is integrated to your Unleashed platform. From there, you can book a meeting with someone like myself, and we can run through a demonstration like this in relation to your data, your customers, assess where the value is for you, and of course, answer any more specific operational workflow questions that you might have. Because like I said, we've just really scratched the surface today. You can also complete a growth playbook scorecard, which allows you to answer questions around your business and your priorities, which helps everyone get a good picture of what you might be looking for. And likewise, anyone that takes a trial out before Friday the 25th will get the first 3 months half price should they subscribe to Prospect CRM, which, never hurts. And like we discussed earlier, we do have a question, so let's dive into that right away. Thanks, Alma. Hi, can you let us know how it connects to mail campaigns and what integrations are supported? Absolutely. So Prospect integrates to the 2 biggest email marketing platforms in the world, to put it simply. But let's go ahead and look at that a little bit more. So we integrate to both MailChimp and Klaviyo. Now, to connect MailChimp and Klaviyo would take you 30 seconds. You click connect, log into MailChimp, you're done. The 2 systems are now connected. And the same goes for Klaviyo. But actually, what ends up happening, and kind of the big step in the right direction I see businesses take when they start email marketing via Prospect rather than in isolation. A lot of businesses prior to our system are doing what I would describe to be extremely high-level marketing. Let's market to everyone because that's all we can do. We've got emails in our MailChimp and in our Klaviyo, and we'll just send a campaign out to everyone who hasn't unsubscribed, which isn't majorly productive. However, we will make both of those platforms better and they will make us better. To elaborate on the how, you could run a report in our system to say, let's market to all our customers that haven't ordered in 30 days. Let's market to all our customers that haven't bought this product from us. Let's market to all our customers who haven't bought this particular product category from us. And you run all your segmentation in here. So whatever segment you want to target, you use all of your data to decide on that segment. You then would press a tag in Klaviyo or a tag in MailChimp button, which in your email marketing platform of MailChimp or Klaviyo will put them in a bucket. And then all you're doing in the email marketing platform moving forward is designing the campaign and pressing the sender button, because all the results of that campaign will flow back into here. So in your Prospect system, you would see all the opens, the clicks, and you could, of course, be proactive from there on in. Hopefully that was clear, Alma. And again, thank you for the question. Looks like we're all good, everyone. So I'll probably conclude the webinar here, but thank you again so much for joining. Look forward to hopefully jumping on a slightly more detailed meeting with you all like this in relation to your data and your customers. It candidly, jump on a prospect trial, check out your RFM model, check out your missing orders reports, and then you can make an executive decision of if you'd like to move forward or not. But it never hurts to kind of see this information. It gives you a really good diagnosis of your business for sure. But like I say, thanks everyone for jumping on and have a great rest of your day. All the best.